A hyena, cocky and hungry, thought it had an easy meal lined up with a lone donkey soaking up the sun. Oh boy, was that hyena in for a rude awakening. This isn't just about one epic showdown though, it's about the raw, untamed power of donkeys and their surprising ability to flip the script on predators who underestimate them. And trust me, by the end of this, you'll never look at a donkey the same way again. Let's break it down and stick with me because this gets crazier with every turn. A lone donkey was grazing quietly but to a passing hyena. This looked like a buffet with no strings attached. Hyenas are no pushovers. Those bone-crushing jaws and relentless pack mentality make them feared across the wild. But this hyena, it got greedy. It crept closer, eyes glinting with confidence, thinking it had the upper hand. And here's where things go completely off the rails. In one lightning-fast move, it spun around, clamped its powerful jaws onto the hyena's ear and went to town. The hyena's snarls turned to high-pitched yelps as the donkey thrashed it like a rag doll, hooves pounding the earth for leverage. Those teeth weren't letting go. But why was this so shocking? Most folks think of donkeys as stubborn, plodding farm animals, not exactly gladiators of the wild. But here's what they're not telling you. Donkeys are built for survival. Their raw strength, razor-sharp instincts, and sheer grit make them a nightmare for any predator dumb enough to test them. And that hyena, it learned the hard way that a donkey's no easy target. Let's talk about what makes a donkey's kick so deadly. You might think a horse's kick is brutal, and it is, but a donkey's got its own brand of devastation. A donkey's hind legs are like twin sledgehammers powered by dense muscle and an uncanny ability to aim with precision. Studies on equine biomechanics show that a donkey can deliver a kick with over 2,000 pounds of force per square inch. That's enough to shatter bones, rupture organs, or send a grown predator flying like a stunt double in an action flick. The secret lies in their anatomy. Donkeys have a compact, sturdy build with a low center of gravity that gives them insane stability when they rear back. Their hooves, smaller and harder than a horse's, act like chisels, concentrating all that force into a pinpoint strike. And here's the kicker. Donkeys don't just kick blindly, they've got a near 360-degree field of vision thanks to those big, expressive eyes, letting them lock onto a target with terrifying accuracy. Combine that with a hair-trigger temper, and you've got an animal that can go from zero to lethal in a split second. But it's not just about raw power. Donkeys have a knack for timing. They'll wait, sizing up their opponent, luring them in with a false sense of security. That hyena probably thought it was sneaking up on a distracted snack, but the donkey was clocking its every move. And when it struck, game over. The hyena didn't just lose the fight, it lost its dignity, limping away with a shredded ear and a bruised ego. Here's where it gets even crazier. Donkeys don't always wait for a predator to make the first move. Sometimes they're the ones throwing the opening punch. Take this one incident in a remote pasture where a massive camel, think desert titan with a bad attitude, decided to pick a fight with a donkey. The camel charged, jaws snapping, and hoisted the donkey off the ground like it was nothing, slamming it into the dirt with a bone-rattling thud. Everyone watching probably thought, that's it, donkey's done. But hold on, it gets even better. The donkey didn't stay down. In a move straight out of a Rocky montage, it scrambled to its feet, eyes blazing, and went full berserker. It charged the camel, dodging those massive jaws, and unleashed a barrage of kicks that had the camel stumbling backward. The camel, easily twice the donkey's size, didn't know what hit it. By the end, it was the camel hightailing it out of there, while the donkey stood tall, snorting like it owned the place. Nobody saw that comeback coming, but it's a perfect example of how donkeys can flip a fight in the blink of an eye. These moments of donkey aggression often fly under the radar because, let's be real, donkeys don't get the spotlight like lions or wolves. But in the wild or on the farm, they're quietly watching, ready to throw down when the moment calls for it. And you'll never guess how it ends when they do. Now, let's zoom out to the bigger picture. Donkeys taking on the wild's toughest predators. You'd think a leopard would have no trouble with a lone donkey, right? Wrong. In one crazy encounter, a young donkey stood alone by the roadside, unaware of the leopard creeping closer under cover. The leopard pounced, silent and deadly, pinning the donkey in a blur of claws and teeth. For a second, it looked like the end. What happens next will leave you speechless. The donkey didn't go quietly. It thrashed, kicked, and brayed with a fury that echoed through the night. Those hooves connected, catching the leopard square in the chest. The predator, expecting an easy kill, hesitated. That split-second pause was all the donkey needed. It later broke free, kicking up dust and charging straight at the stunned leopard. The predator sprinted off, spooked by the sheer audacity of this easy prey, and by dawn, the donkey was still standing, battered but unbroken, while the leopard slunk off to lick its wounds. And it's not just leopards. Wolves, hyenas, even honey badgers, nature's pint-sized tanks, have all learned the hard way that donkeys don't mess around. In one case, a honey badger strutted into a herd of donkeys, acting like it owned the joint. It even lunged at one, teeth bared. Big mistake. The donkey spun, landed a single front leg kick, and dropped the badger like a sack of potatoes. The badger, known for its fearless attitude, didn't stick around for round two. It bolted, tail between its legs, while the donkey barely broke a sweat. So, what's driving this donkey mayhem? It's not just physical strength, it's mindset. Donkeys are hardwired for survival in ways that make them unique, even among other equines. Unlike horses, which might bolt at the first sign of danger, donkeys often stand their ground. Animal behaviorists point out that donkeys have a strong sense of self-preservation, paired with a stubborn streak that makes them refuse to back down. They'll assess a threat, calculate their move, and strike with surgical precision. This comes from their evolutionary roots. Donkeys evolved in harsh, predator-filled environments where running wasn't always an option. Instead, they developed a fight-over-flight instinct. That's why you'll see a donkey plant itself, stare down a threat, and then unleash hell. It's not just about protecting themselves either. Donkeys are fiercely protective of their herd, whether it's other donkeys, sheep, or even goats. Farmers have used donkeys as guard animals for centuries because of this. Stick a donkey in a pasture, and predators think twice.